Welcome back to part 2.
All right, let's go. Wait, don't turn the channel. You've tuned into High Gravity.
The show where we talk about beer, brewing, and bullshit.
Where the only thing we take seriously is the next round.
So grab a glass.
Fill it with something cold.
And enjoy the show.
Welcome back.
Yeah, we're
already
again with
recording.
Alex.
Yeah,
All right.
part 2.
Alex brought us enough beer. We need to drink all the beer.
We can make this happen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm feeling good about it. I'm excited.
Hey, once we get done, I have an IPA that I brought too.
That first round really wet my whistle, and I'm ready
true.
to drink more beer.
I like it.
I want to drink some more of the sunshine.
That beer was
was
really
good.
good. That's why when there was a little bit left in the can, I wanted to make sure everyone else got a little bit more of a
I
sip.
really miss
like
having
everyone
that
got a
last
little
week.
bit. It was really tasty.
It's been a whole week without it, and it's like it's still there. You know, if I smell the
right.
glass, I feel its presence.
Well, that's if
clinging.
we play these in order. If not, it was next week.
Yeah, and
Oh, last week.
And I
We had
mentioned
that
it before.
last
Like IPAs in general aren't really like
This
my
is
go-to
part two,
style.
remember?
But IPAs were also what got me into brewing because I didn't like them and I wanted to make one that I liked. And I mean, your palate changes over time too, so you kind of get more accustomed to the bitterness and things like that. Like I never thought I'd enjoy sour beers, but I've met plenty of sour
And I
beers
still
I enjoy.
don't.
You know, I can never remember what got me into brewing, but it started with this first one that I had.
Here's to you, marketplace salesman. You hawk your wares with the skill of a seasoned carnival barker, turning clutter into cash, one deal at a time. From haggling over prices to snapping perfect product photos, you do it all. Here's to you, the king of the classified ads, making commerce a work of art.
So that's why I like this kind of beer. It's good stuff.
Yeah, totally, definitely. I'm absolutely picking up on the subtlety of the hand gestures and things.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
You know the thing that's the thing
Yeah.
that I like.
Did you get that thing I sent
The
you?
thing.
I'll fill you in later.
the
Don't
stuff.
worry about it.
You read that email, right? So
Shit, there was an
As
email.
per my last email. Yes.
our glasses have been empty for an entire
Oh my
week.
God! All right.
A
Wait,
whole
wait.
week. I've been sober. What is going on?
Well,
You
some
know?
people
Well, I
walked
don't know
in
about
with-
sober, but
Yeah,
Never.
so I
Imagine being sober.
why? I've learned vodka does not agree with me anymore. Like in
That's a hell
large
of a
quantities. Yeah,
this is a beer podcast.
High Gravity Podcast. We're tired of beer.
I was not drinking alone. The cat was there, but I know what quantities of like rum or whiskey or bourbon or scotch I can make it through.
My glass is still empty.
Yeah,
Let's get into the next one.
You know, I always try to tell my origin story and nothing
try, we just
happens.
cut you
I'm
off.
telling yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
I like this can. The color is
Yeah, the
bright
can, great.
orange, and it immediately makes me think of like orange soda or orange candy when I see that
I had an
color
orange
can.
energy drink for breakfast.
Well, I forgot mine.
Actually, it looks like a recycle type logo.
It really does.
The way the font is with the little the O recycling.
Maybe it is. It's made from
I bet
recycled
you-
grains.
I bet you it has a recycle logo on the bottom or the top, maybe.
Something somewhere.
It's gotta be.
Johnny's changing his name
Or-
to Captain
It's got a
Redundant.
packaging date. There we go. Well, that's good.
All right,
somewhere on
so
the label.
send us into this beer. What do we got
So
here?
this beer's called Reciprocal. It's from Bissell Brothers Brewing in Portland, Maine. 7.3% ABV, double dry hopped Australian IPA brewed with a large portion of wheat and hopped with Vic Secret, Ella, and Summer. Bissell Brothers was conceived in November 2011 by brothers Noah and Peter Bissell in response to Noah's homebrewing obsession and Peter's interest in burgeoning experience in entrepreneurship and marketing. The brewery sold its first kegs of the Substance Ale, which is very good, by the way, at the Thirsty Pig in Portland, where brothers had worked during the company's inception in 2013. So this place is awesome. I love going there. It's a key stop every time I go up to Portland. They've been doing it for a while. They've got a restaurant in downtown Portland now called High Roller Lobster Co., and they feature a lot of craft beer there.
Do they serve lobster?
They do. They
What?
do.
I was really expecting steak.
And they have steak too.
Holy shit, surf and turf.
Actually, they're very. It's super culinary experience there, but their food's really good. They've got awesome burgers and all sorts of crazy stuff going on there.
You excited me when I heard Australian.
Yeah.
Because
Do they have kangaroo?
Australian hops are just a totally different experience when it comes to like IPAs. Like every summer when Galaxy hops would come around, like I would have to make like a Galaxy IPA. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
Get a
Galaxy's
bit of
great.
haze to it. I guess it.
Yep. So we're getting hazy here. You'll find that this is very, very wheat forward, and it said it in the description as well. But it is
can smell it.
extremely wheat forward.
I love wheat beers
As
just
do
in
I.
general. Like
Dude, this smells citrus.
big time. Yeah, but
I like this a lot.
Australian hops always have that like really bright citrusy, stone fruit, pineapple-y, guava. This is
High
I see the
acid.
guava, yeah. This I like.
Yes, high acid Galaxy is usually around 15%.
Yeah, 15 or 16, I think.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like them for aroma and flavor hops. I wouldn't dare waste them on bittering.
They bitter fast and really high too, though.
Yeah, well, it's why I wouldn't. And plus, they're expensive.
Again, smelling this smells acidic. Smells that citrus style taste. I don't taste the acidicness.
It's
in it.
not. Yeah,
No.
there's not. It's not.
I can
too
taste the
acidic at
bittering.
all.
I can taste the flavors out of it.
There's definitely a malt characteristic to it too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think what these guys are doing well that some
That
of the
blends so well.
Yeah.
And
I mentioned
it leads. Sorry, I didn't.
No, it's
mean
okay.
to-
It's
It
all right.
leads kind of from that malt into the bittering with that. Like it rolls right into it. There's not a harsh dividing line. It's a very smooth transition
Right.
in the taste.
I had mentioned before about how some of the bigger places they're not doing as well as they used to because they've gotten bigger and their processes have changed somehow because of their size. But that's you smell the hops in there. The hops are exploding out of there, and you almost expect for it to taste green or acidic or burny or something like that.
doesn't.
But
No, it's
it
bright
doesn't
and clean.
because they do it well and because they allow it time to condition. And that's what some of these places that have expanded, they want to pump out beer.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they don't give it good conditioning time, and then you get a beer in a can that you have to let sit for weeks before you even drink it because it burns when you drink it. And Bissell does it really well, and they're large, but they're not too big.
It throws me off every time I taste. I smell it and then taste it. It doesn't have that taste I'm expecting
Yeah.
after the smell.
No, the aroma definitely. You get that like just really like, oh my god, this is going to be that like kind of really heavy juicy experience where it's going to be bitter, acidic, and then it's going to be just this crazy punch of fruits that can be good. Like all those things can be very good, but done in this way, like you can taste the patience.
Yes.
You can taste like they took their time to do this in a way that you get everything you want out of the hops without tripping over the things you don't. And some people, I mean, it used to be the play back in the day. Like everyone just wanted bitter, and then I think we've evolved, thank God.
Yes.
This has the right amount of bitter. It has the right balance where you get all the hop aromas and flavors and just the right amount of bitterness. And I don't feel like this is going to give me hop burn. Like I feel like if I drank this whole pint, it's a little dry for me to want to drink like a whole lot of them, and that's not to detract from like my admiration for it. It's perfect.
You can still do one or two though.
Yeah, but I
know it's not going to kill your gut.
But I wouldn't drink 4 pints of this. But I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I would like not to, but it would happen if I had a 4-pack. I remember being on the boat one time and I drank 4 M43s, not because like I wanted to, but because I had them.
Yeah.
And one was enough. And I haven't drank that beer in several years because I just can't. I can't anymore. It's just no, never again.
Yeah.
But yeah, this I would much rather drink 4 pints. So, but again, one would be sufficient. This is really wonderful, though. It
was good.
perfect.
This is good, but still that sunshine stuck on me now.
The sunshine is.
torn.
Guess I'm gonna have to bring some more of that back with me
That
next
one
time.
was fantastic too. I think I like this one just because I like the wheatiness, the little more malt to it.
I don't get as much wheat as I was kind of
it's not
hoping for.
much. Yeah, it's there, but it's not.
But that's because I'm a
overly
wheat
down.
whore. Yeah, next time you go out that way, you let us know. We'll chip in on a case of that Sippin' Sunshine.
Absolutely.
You know, I think that we would drink the shit out of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and it's not hard to come by anymore. It used to be very hard to come by. You used to have to go to Vermont to get it, and it was only in certain places, and people would line
love
up. It's
their
just
cheddar.
like Heady Topper back in the day. You couldn't get it, but at the
It
Alchemist,
used to be an exciting moment.
Yeah,
you know?
no, it
someone's like,
was.
"I got Heady." It's like, oh, especially because we're not from the East Coast to hear. You know, when someone brings by Heady, it's just like, oh my God, you got the beer. You know, you
Yeah.
got the IPA.
Yep. And it's not and you could get it at the brewery and you could get it at this like one general store, and people would line up out the door for it, and they've made it more accessible now, and they've distributed to a few other places in Vermont.
KBS used to be.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
used to be exciting and used to be good. I think there's a lot of beers like that. Well,
But
we
then they
recently,
change.
Yeah.
not too long ago, we had Pliny.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone I remember everyone getting just insane for Pliny the Elder.
Yep.
And like someone brought a bottle to a bottle share and everyone's like, oh my God, you got Pliny, that's so sick. And I mean, that was maybe 10, 12 years ago. And like, then we had it a couple months ago and it's
I
like,
remember it being a lot better than it was.
I agree, but I don't think that, I don't feel like it changed. I just feel like the beer economy around it changed. Like you can have 100 different things that taste very much the same as Pliny. And so it's not unique anymore. When you used
You've
to
hit
get
the
it 10, 12
market
years ago,
saturation of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, there's not really anything else like this. You know,
Yeah.
granted, there was probably like 80% less breweries 10 or 12 years
Right,
ago. Like
right.
they've all opened in the last 10 years. And so it used to be unique, just like you said with KBS. Like it used to be unique. Like there was imperial stouts, you could find them,
Yeah.
but like you didn't walk down your local grocery store beer aisle and find imperial stouts.
Yeah.
Now you can pick out 6 of them, 7 of them,
Yeah.
and that's just
There's
at
a
your
whole section of it.
that's
at
just at
Kroger.
your local Kroger or Meijer
Yeah.
or Piggly Wiggly or wherever the fuck you are in the U.S. or I don't know what you have in Russia or Israel or wherever our listeners are now.
That reminds me, we have some cool new countries.
See, I drew Johnny's brain, so he likes to thank our listeners.
Well, yeah, I mean, they make us. I mean, they don't make us money yet, but
But
eventually.
while Johnny's scrolling through that, what our glasses are empty. What do you say we go to the
Yeah.
next one, or do you
Yeah.
want to rinse first, or
Do a little rinse.
yeah, we should. Consummate professionals.
While you're doing that, all this loads here. Now that I said that, and it's taking a few seconds longer to load. Keep making my point. There we go. So as of recording, because this starts out new every month, and it tracks it for the month on what it displays. We got the U.S., obviously, Germany, United Kingdom, Moldova is a new one.
Shout out Moldova.
Romania. I don't remember if we've had a listener from there before, but thank you. And Russia again.
All right. Well,
Oh yeah, that's
Spying.
currently, yeah.
Spying on you guys.
I'm
okay with that.
I'm under the impression that a lot of our global listeners maybe come from the Meta Brew Society Discord. So shout out to the Meta Brew guys.
Absolutely.
Shout out to the
Yeah,
shout
thank
out
you
to
guys.
the twins.
Like, share, comment, tell your friends, weigh in, throw us an opinion, let us know what you think of the show. If you don't like it, then maybe don't post something. But
Just
Or do. I don't know.
if you're new to this show, just start with episode like 4 or 5. Don't go
Or
don't
12.
go back too far. There's a learning curve to this, and
we have fun. We don't really care what you think. But
Yeah,
let us know anyway.
I've said it before. We could show up at the brewery at 10 a.m. on a Sunday and drink together, but hey, we chose to record it, so
Yeah, whose idea was that?
Because we're dumb.
I think it was Darrell's idea.
I think it was a group decision. We fucked up.
This one
Ooh, I like the
looks
color on
hazy,
this
but
beer.
it's more like that white
Yeah.
IPA.
That's what I was gonna
instead of,
say,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, so it's
yellow.
more pale. This is more of like a classic New England style, what I consider New England style.
Ooh,
but this one
the
is
smell
called,
is very bright and dank.
It is, yeah. This is the most
dank, very
most
bright.
beautifulest thing in the world. Modest Man Brewing in Keene, New Hampshire. It's 8.4%.
Very bright.
Modest Man's the most beautiful thing in the world is a bold and captivating brew that lives up to its audacious name, pouring into the glass It unveils a mesmerizing hue that catches the light, promising an experience as dazzling as its moniker suggests.
Their descriptions have been so apt. Like that, as soon as you poured it, I looked at it, I'm like, oh, I like that. That's beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I found some good stuff. Modest Man's actually, they were hard to come by descriptions. I feel like they're a little secretive about what they've got going on, which is slightly comical to me because, you know, anybody who's brewing good beer for the most part, they're not afraid to be like, yeah, we use two-row and we use wheat malt and these are the hops we're using. And these guys don't really do that.
Have you ever ran into a brewer who's like tight-lipped about their methods or their recipes or their secrets or blah, blah, blah? Like they're not writing it down for you like what you get, but you ever met someone like that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure. And I kind of just, you know, I write it off at that point, honestly.
It's
because
weird.
It's again, we go back to this is a community, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And not there's people who copy, and I get it, but, you know, everybody's trying to figure out how to do it the best way.
Right.
And to make everybody happy, and everybody brings their own thing to the game. And it's like, oh, I never thought about doing it in the process like that, like a different way to put hops in, or whatever.
Well, and it's the knowledge exchange, you know, like you might have a really unique idea and you start talking about it, and then I might hear that and think, well, hey, that's really cool. Like I've done something similar where I did this, that, and the other, and you all of a sudden, oh wait, if I do it this way, like I've only ever met one brewer like that, and he was very like tight-lipped about his recipes and things like that. And I was like, that's weird, man. Like, I'm not going to go home and, like, make your exact recipe somehow identical and somehow outcompete you. Like, it's strange to me when people don't want to be collaborative.
There's a brewery in Philadelphia, and I was trying to look it up because I don't remember, and their beer was like the hop nectar or nectar hop or gold nectar or something like that. When you walked in the brewery, on the wall, they had every recipe of every beer that they did, and you could take it with you.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Because your system's not going to be the same.
It won't be.
Your fermentation temperatures aren't going to be the same. Your atmospheric temperatures aren't going to be the same. You're
Water.
You're never going to make the same beer, and that's what confuses me when someone's like so proprietary about their recipe, and it's like, dude, no one is making your beer and selling it as you. Like nobody's going to outcompete you.
I'm not sure how I feel about this one. There's a burn to it.
I haven't even tasted it. But
I don't
when
have
I
that
pour
at
it,
all.
It's in my gut after drinking it that I'm not.
It's got a lot of hops in it.
It's
a lot.
I'm sure it's something from that.
Well, as soon as we were pouring it, I could smell it from the pour.
Yeah.
And this is, oh no, that's the other one. This one should just
I wouldn't
be
even call it
just
hazy. I'd call it like milky. Almost.
Yeah, so this is just Citra. It's a single hop series. This is it's actually the joke about Modest Man is that they like literally every beer that they make has Citra in it.
Yeah,
so
I've again I'll call out Senpai, like he says like he's sick of Citra because everything was Citra, especially back in the day. It's like you get Cascade, you get Citra, you might have some Amarillo in there, but other hops, goddamn, no other hops.
This
me.
taste is very silky, a little burn in the back of the throat.
I don't get the burn though. I think
get
this
a little
is
burn.
This is remarkably.
It's subtle, but it's there.
It's remarkably simple, but also still complex. Like you drink it, and it's everything about it is subtle, but it is so bright. Like bright is the word I keep going back to because it's just it's loud with its brightness.
I'll say this, I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite.
No, but if you want to know what Citra tastes like, this is it.
Yeah.
This is.
I've always been kind of a little bit of a Citra slut. I love Citra.
Yeah, it's good.
Big fan.
It tastes good. It's
It's a great
easy
hop.
one. People like it. It's not experimental by any means.
And sometimes you don't need that.
What gets me though is it's not harsh at all, especially with the hops.
Yeah,
And it's not really
not at
bitter. It's
all.
got more of a dryness to it.
Yeah.
But it has like a silky body. It's really, really smooth.
It's very round and gentle on the palate. And I think that's what I like most about it.
I'll agree with that. So that little bit of burn though,
This is another one that I could drink. I could drink several pints of this.
I like this more than the last one we had.
I'd agree to that.
I like the last one, honestly.
But it's kind of like saying like
But
it's
that's
like,
the
oh,
beauty.
this one's the last one's like 4.5 stars, and it's like, well, I like this one more.
And it's a 4.5 star.
Yeah.
Well, again, that's the beauty of this hobby is everybody likes different. You can all have different opinions.
Yeah. Ooh. And I gotta
Unless you
say,
drink beer that shall not be named, then you're wrong.
with all the different IPAs and things that we've tried, and it's kind of weird, but like when you burp, you get that hoppiness, and like This has to be about the most pleasant hop burps I've ever had. Like you burp and it's hoppy, but it's like, oh, that's actually kind of nice. And like
I don't have to shield
when
my
you drink,
breath from
a
others.
lot of juicies or a lot of really bitter IPAs, like you burp and it's like, oh, that's hot and gross. But it's like a fresh breath of fresh air filled with hops.
Yep.
But I can tell you right now, I already see a theme difference. So with every one of these these IPAs that we've had, how smooth, non-acidic they've been. I mean, a little bit. You go anything from Michigan that's out here, and you get something trying to be comparable. It is acidic, sitting in your stomach.
Yep.
It really makes me want to try the one I have because that's a Michigan one.
Well, just a huge difference already.
Yeah.
It's a process thing, and if I was going to make an example of what I think a New England style is supposed to be, these two beers, this one we're drinking right now and the next one, are going to be about that. So you've got a nice, silky, creamy, pillowy body. It's exploding with hops to the point where you almost can't taste any malt characteristic to it. And the bitterness isn't overwhelming. We're talking like, 45, 50 IBUs. We're not going any
It doesn't
higher
even
than
taste
that.
like that. I mean,
No.
Right, and that's because of how much is in there for hops. It kind of like you get the bitterness, but it's not overwhelming, and you get to taste the hops, which is nice.
I've got a question for everybody here because this is one thing that always throws me. What is an IBU?
International
And
Bittering Unit.
Well, I know what it means.
surprise.
I solved it. You can Google it.
Come on,
Yeah,
we do
there it is.
educational aspects of this show too. Can anyone explain like what it is and what it means when you read those numbers on a can? Obviously, the more it is, the more bitter it is. But is there any common explanation? I'm good, thanks. Any common explanation that are more simplistic explanation of what it is to help more people understand it? Like myself included.
That's a good question.
I think a lot of it trying to understand is kind of making green tea. If you've ever made green tea, and if you make green tea, you're supposed to be like 160, I think is the temperature.
180.
Well, if you go 200 though, it starts bittering out.
Well,
so the lower
212 is black tea, coffee, things like that. But green tea, I think, is
But if-
180 or 185.
So if you go with green tea though, when you go to 200, because of the acids in it, those acids as they
bitter.
get
You
really
get all the
hot,
tannins.
they convert over to the bitterness style of it. And that's
Right,
all
and
it
coffee's
is.
the same way. It's,
When it's hotter.
coffee's best brewed around 190, 192 degrees, right? So tea's about the same. I think a little less, like you said, 185 is...
I love my electric kettle. I read the package.
Oh, they're the best.
I read my package of what I'm drinking, and it says, brewed at this temperature, and I set my electric kettle to that temperature.
So with overheating them or that time when you're doing the hops with the higher, especially higher alpha acids, such as your Galaxy, that Australian hop, when you enter it in sooner into the boil and it boils longer at a higher temperature, all it does is bitter. You'll end up losing all the flavors. It just bitters straight out.
So it's kind of a heat cook time kind
think-
of thing. That it,
so-
I think the word that I learned was isomerization, like how much of the alpha acids are isomerized into the liquid. And I could be off on that, but essentially exactly what Darrell just
Just how long
described.
it
How much
cooks
of the alpha
into.
acids are in the liquid and how long they are heated.
Makes
So
sense.
they convert to...
And as I was talking
Bitter.
with Alex last time, especially with like the New England styles, and if I say something I'm not supposed to, we'll just have to cut it out, whatever. But when I did my New England style IPA last time, which was the Great Lakes Haze, I do the whirlpool. So I turn off the flame, I do the whirlpool, and I drop all my hops in the whirlpool at the same time. And it whirlpools for 10 minutes. I let the temperature start dropping, and I move it right away because I don't want high bitterness out of it.
Yeah.
Now, when I was talking to Alex last time, he was talking about another hour whirlpool, dropping hops
Yes.
in as it's cooling down. That way, you're not getting all the bittering agents out of it. So as it's cooling down, hitting certain temperatures, you're pulling more flavor profiles out.
You're pulling different ones out.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so I never even thought of doing a whirlpool for an hour after you just finished everything.
You can do 30 to 60 minutes, but it gives your trube a good chance to, collect in the bottom before you transfer out. But also, it gives you the ability to like divide your whirlpool hops up, and you can add them in, and as the temperature drops, you're pulling less alpha acids from the hops.
Get more of that
and
flavor
really,
profile.
once you get below 180 degrees, you're not really pulling alpha acids from hops anymore. So, like when I do it, I'll put some in at flame out. Maybe sometimes I wait. I wait till it drops to about 200 degrees, and then I'll throw my first in, and then 190, and I'll throw some in, and then 180, I'll throw some in. So you're not extracting too much bitterness from the hops at that point, but you're definitely getting a good aroma punch in there. And then whatever you do for dry hopping in
So essentially, it's just how long you're steeping at those temperatures, pulling that measure of acids out.
Exactly, and then you think about it like you think about the coffee or the tea, right? Yeah. So we're right in that range of pulling out the flavor, but not pulling out too much of the bad stuff like excess bitterness or.
That makes sense. If I was at a general understanding of it, but that makes more sense to me, and hopefully to you folks listening. So
yeah.
But now after trying these and knowing this concept, I'm ready to make another New England.
I'll come make it with you.
Very good.
We can do it. I got a recipe for you.
I'm excited about that. Yeah. So we've got some beers that we need to brew too. So
that day's getting pushed out.
I'm feeling we're gonna have to push those dates back.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, not officially, but so
we have talked about that.
Yeah.
Too much going on.
Yeah.
Life's hard.
Because it was supposed to be September 14th.
Yeah, so probably around when this episode's going to release.
So next year we'll do something.
Yeah. Or maybe sooner. I mean, we could play that by ear.
Okay. Or next year we can do something.
Or that, yeah.
No, we are coming up on fall season. Are we planning any pumpkin beers coming up soon?
So actually, this year we decided not to do a roasted pumpkin.
Oh boy!
With everything going on, I know.
I did actually quite enjoy that. I'm not a big pumpkin fan, but your pumpkin was
The
pretty
roasted
acceptable.
pumpkin.
I was
really
blending
good.
that with something that was really good. I don't remember.
But the problem is we roast the pumpkins and the work that's put into it with our expansion going on and everything else right now. So we did do our Oktoberfest.
I love
our Barn
the
Buddies is
Oktoberfest.
done.
Oktoberfest is your.
So with what's going in, roast the pumpkins with that next year.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I think the drunkest I ever got at this brewery was drinking the Oktoberfest.
Episode 23.
I thought it was 1.21 giga hops on your the day before your wedding.
No. I woke up feeling good to get married that day. Yeah. So,
imagine.
So this is I don't think I've told this story in its entirety, but this actually probably be a fun one. So my wife and I, we got engaged. I proposed to her in our chicken coop because we love our chickens. And
did you have a chicken as a ring bearer or something?
I thought about it, but then I realized how chaotic chickens are and how they like to eat literally everything.
Oh yeah, good call.
And I spent way too much on that rock for that.
I understand.
So, of course, she said yes. We've been together for 18 years. So, at this point, what saying no would be kind of weird. But unfortunately, 2 days later, when we were going to visit my parents to tell them about it, my mom had told us that she had late stage pancreatic and liver cancer. So we decided, we're not going to wait to get married. So we essentially planned and put together the wedding in under 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So my bachelor party, was kind of an impromptu thing where it must have been like a Tuesday or Thursday. I texted.
It was a Monday for karaoke, wasn't it?
Was it still on Monday then?
We were doing karaoke
because I don't think
when you were here.
I thought karaoke
I was
was
giving pictures away for winning prizes on the spin wheel.
Right. But I thought that either way, I thought that was unplanned karaoke.
I remember. I think I remember.
But it might have because we went out we got. Oh my God! I'm trying to think what day we got married. It must have been a Friday or a Saturday.
What year was this?
2000.
Don't fuck this up. She's listening right now.
No, she's fucking not.
Oh, I didn't think of that implication. I'm sorry.
2.5 years, 2 and change ago.
So about when I was new.
20. I'm sorry. It was 2/19/22. Because if we had got married 3 days later, we would have gotten married on 2/22/22.
So I was,
which would have been fucking cool, but I think that ended up being a Tuesday. So this must have been a Saturday. So I was here on a Friday.
I have a bottle of Blanton's
for some reason because I knew it wasn't planned karaoke.
Oh,
it was random karaoke because we went to. I messaged the boys like 3 days beforehand. I said, hey, I'm getting married in a couple days. Do you just want to get together and have an impromptu bachelor party? And my wife said,
I didn't know you that well yet.
Yeah, my wife said, it's like, don't show up to our wedding hungover. Like, nobody does their bachelor party the day before. It's like the week before. And I'm like, so don't underestimate my ability to drink beer. But the plan was...
their first argument.
Yeah, first argument, right. The plan was that we get together, we go have dinner, we have a drink, we come here, we have a beer, and then we go back to my house to play some board games and hang out and be, just have fun. So I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed for the next day. Well, I come here, and, like, I'm walking up to the door, and, like, as the door's opening, the karaoke host says, it's like, oh, here's Jim with, Santeria, because, like, apparently I sang that a lot at the time. So, like, I didn't even get a choice. I just walked in and was like, and we're like, oh shit, boys, it's karaoke. Like, we got to, and
it's happening.
I mentioned that, like, oh, hey, we're here for my bachelor party. And so Darrell keeps going in the back and filling up my mug with all this shit that he hasn't released yet. And the 1.21 gigahops, was like 7.5% or 7.8% NEPA. And so he keeps giving me these, like, high gravity beers. And this was supposed to be a 2-3 beer night. We go home, we play board games.
I think I even put a picture on the table if I remember correctly.
We kept winning. Like, we kept spinning the wheel. My table kept spinning the wheel, and we'd win free beers, free pitchers. And one of the guys that doesn't drink was, like, winning pitchers of beer. So instead of having 2 or 3, we had like 7, 8, 9, 10. I have no idea how many beers we had. My nephew was waiting back at our house for me, so we would go back and hang out with him. And we get back and we're just fucked up, and like we have to go to bed.
My bachelor party's that lit whenever.
Well,
it's not gonna happen.
I'll tell you what. I woke up the next day. I felt a little out of sorts. I didn't have a headache or a hangover, but I woke up. I smoked a joint. I jumped in the car. I drove to my in-laws' house where we got married at my in-laws' house. I forgot to bring the dog. But thank God, Taylor. Shout out Taylor was there,
Taylor.
And he's like, "Do you want me to bring the dog?" I'm like, "Yeah, we bought a shirt for him and everything.
I was
Like, he has to come to the wedding."
Corny ass little like tuxedo.
Oh, it said my humans are getting married. Yeah, yep. And there's pictures of us dancing together where he's like, like up, like reaching up, like dancing with us. Aww. Like he's a good little wiener. But yeah, it's Darrell's fault. I literally told Kayla, and as soon as I saw her the next day, I said, Darrell was feeding me beers. Everything is Darrell's fault. But I was just fine. I was okay. I did have 2 Coors Lights for breakfast as soon as I arrived at my in-laws' house. I was like,
excellent.
Well, it's like 11 a.m. and the father-in-law drinks Coors Light.
Might as well hydrate.
He likes Stella. Stella's his favorite. Stella. But at 11 a.m. on a Saturday when you were drinking the night before, it's like, you know what? An ice cold Coors Light probably is just what I need right now. And those 2 beers set me just right. I was ready to get married. And then, as soon as we did, we got to go start drinking Yellow Spot, which was wonderful Irish whiskey.
Nice.
But yeah, it was fun. And if I had been hungover for my wedding, Kaylin would have always blamed Darrell. Just kidding. She would have blamed me. She'd have blamed me 1,000%. She knows it's not Darrell's fault. But why didn't you say no?
So before we break this next beer, because I'm empty, you're the only one not. Yes, your worst time drinking too much here, you were bouncing off the walls.
Oh, yes.
People had to get you home.
Yeah, so that was also a problem.
That wasn't a Halloween night.
It was Oktoberfest. I think it was Halloween. I came up a little bit late. I had, for some reason, skipped dinner. And I was only planning on having 1 or 2 beers, just say hi to everyone. I wanted to come up for Halloween. I didn't have my costume. My wife was working. I just wanted to come up and say hi and see everyone and then head home. The Oktoberfests were tasting good. I think I had 7 or 8.
This story sounds familiar.
Yeah, then they're damn near 8%. And
He walked through the hallway and we watched him bounce back and forth in the hallway. We're like, yeah, he's not driving.
It never happens on purpose.
Yeah.
This was one of those situations where somehow it snuck up on me and I didn't realize it until after you've had 3 or 4 and then your brain shuts off and all of a sudden now the drunk you took over and you have no concept of how much you're drinking.
That's scary when drunk Johnny takes over.
Yeah.
Johnny Orange was originally my drunk persona.
I didn't need that in my life.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah.
I remember a couple of conversations. The last person I remember talking to was Bob. I remember talking with Bob, and then so fortunately, someone drove me home. Because we're a big family here of people who care for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up the next day and I'm like, what the fuck? I had no idea like why I was home, like what happened. And I get up and walk through my kitchen, like my pants and things are in the kitchen. Like you could see like the trail of debris as I came
Bob
in. Like
really took you home.
Bob didn't take me home. We'll get there.
Uh-oh.
And
I'm afraid of where this is going.
I felt like such garbage. I didn't get out of bed till like 6 p.m. I didn't eat anything till like 8. I didn't realize that my Jeep wasn't in my driveway until midnight. At midnight, I looked outside and I'm like, where's my car? That was yesterday. And so an entire day later, you asked me to tell this story with your empty glass.
Now you'd have to wait.
So the next, so it must have been Sunday morning, because that was a Friday. I texted Gary because I saw a Busch Light can in my driveway. And I knew, I'm like, wait a minute. That means I had a road beer. And he's like, wait a minute. I was like, yeah. He's like, I took you home. And I'm like, thank you. I have no memory of this. He's like, yeah, we passed your road because you were not giving me directions. You were just mumbling and drinking a road beer. And
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so I went and got my car and it was all fun and games. And it was the worst hangover of my entire life.
Still not yet ever had a hangover.
Nope, that was awful. I've only been sick the morning after twice, and that was the second time.
I've thrown up, but I got stomach issues that have varied over the years in severity.
I was never that guy.
I've never had like the
stomach is a
headache
tank.
issue though.
But yeah, so there's stories about the last 2 times that I got really drunk. So let's drink another beer. Darrell's glass is empty.
Yes.
I apologize.
About time.
I apologize for spinning too many yarns.
It's usually me that runs on with the stories.
Well, I was only going to tell the one, but Darrell asked for the other
I know.
one.
I didn't remember it was that long.
That's what she said.
So this last beer, this is also from Modest Man, who we just drank from. It's called the Mega, the Check Your Head.
It's got a very
edition.
similar color to the last one.
It does, yeah. I can imagine they have about the same brewing process pretty much for all their New
There's a
England style
gas
IPAs.
mask on it. I'm
Good,
slightly
because the last one was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, so this is I believe, and I couldn't find a good description for this beer, but I believe the Mega Series is stapled on the Citra and Mosaic hop setup. And I know
bubbling
some
my
of them
stomach.
have
No.
other hops they add in, but I think the common thing between all of them is Citra and Mosaic. So they said this one is a 3-time double dry hopped with Citra and
Holy
Mosaic.
shit.
The description irritates me, and this is the thing that a lot of the breweries do is they say, "Oh, this beer's double dry hop. This beer's triple dry hop." Like it doesn't have a definition. It's whatever you want it to mean. It
Yep.
could mean you
I think
did
there's a
3
lot of
times
that
the
in
amount of
brewing, though, too.
hops. It could mean you added hops 3 times in fermentation process or secondary or whatever. There's no good definition. I think it's a good marketing scheme to say, "Hey, we put a lot of hops in this."
There's so
yeah.
much of that. That's
Right.
like there's so many brewing conventions too that we're coming to find out we only ever did because that's how we always did them, and just like it's not right. But yeah, there's nobody out there slapping your wrist for being like, no, triple dry hop means this,
Right, exactly. So it's whatever you want it to mean. It has a lot of hops
That
in
one's
it.
It does.
interesting.
And Mosaic's good. I
love it.
believe Mosaic is one of those hops where it's like cilantro. You either taste one thing or the other. Mosaic's the same way. It's either you taste like, I believe it's like a blueberry characteristic, or there's one other thing I can't remember. But my brother tastes the opposite in Mosaic from what I do, and I can't remember what that was. But
I don't taste blueberry.
I love Mosaic.
Same. My favorite hops go Galaxy, Mosaic, Citra. So these last
I couldn't
3
rank.
beers have
Yeah.
been like my fucking jam.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of a lot of these last ones. I'll give it that. It's not terrible. I've had much worse, but this one's a lot.
I'm having
There's
a hard
lot
I'm
in
having
this
a hard time picking my favorite of these. I think the Sip and
Sunshine.
Sunshine's probably my favorite, but these last three,
I like the one we had after that better, but that's a close second.
I
mean,
couldn't
they're
pick.
very-
I
they're
couldn't
very
pick my
close.
favorite out of these three. I love them all equally, and I would love to have one after the other.
I'll tell you what though, the one before was a single hop.
Yeah.
When I poured it, I could smell it instantly.
Yep.
This one's the 3 times double dry hop,
whatever that means.
and
Yep.
it was not near as strong in smell.
No,
It was
that's-
not.
yeah.
It's not nearly as bright as the last one. No,
So is it kind of milky appearance?
but I like this one. It's all of its characteristics are very subtle. Like,
Yeah.
I like that this is mellow. Like this is the good one to end on. I feel like because like the previous two were kind of slightly more robust while still being
That
like
I-
subtle and clean. This is just very laid back.
But I taste acidicness all the way through this one. Like the previous one, I didn't taste
See,
it
I
up
don't
front,
taste
just
as
in the
much
back.
acid in this one.
A little bit, very little,
This
but
one,
a very
there's-
acceptable amount.
There's definitely more presence in it, but the more that I drink it, more
Oh, it's this one. Good.
it's.
I was like, I want more. I grabbed the empty can. Yeah, I want a little more.
Like, there's
of that.
definitely a lot more. There's not near as much burn in this one, though.
No, I do agree though. You do get just a little bit more like the kind of the dry acidity, but it's
It's not
still
as strong
so
as the other
subtle.
one. It's very subtle, but it's from the front all the way to the back.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas the previous one, I didn't have that acidic in the front. I just tasted it right in the back.
Right. And I think what Modest Man does well is that they're just consistent with how they brew things. I do very much think that
It
they
feels
are
that
like
way.
they have like one really good recipe and then they make minor modifications to it and call it a different
Well, that-
beer because a lot, this is what happens. They do these really well, but
Yeah, they
do. It's minor modifications. They can make it a different series, like this mega series, or like that one. They have a few different kinds, but they do the brewing process well, and they do it solid, and their beers always come out very drinkable. And I don't think I've ever had a hot burn experience from these guys. I think they always
So far,
always
none for
take
me.
No, I haven't had
The,
any
the one
either.
before, I definitely feel it. It's subtle, but it's definitely there.
Yeah.
I love their beers. My mother and her family are from out east, Boston, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I've never gotten to go out there. And I had some friends do what they call their Miata road trip. They all have Miatas,
Yeah.
and they like drive them around. Like,
That's awesome.
I hate those things.
yeah. Hey, well,
I'm a tall
John
guy. I
Barron.
don't
The
fit.
first time me and John Barron ever had a good conversation, I realized he was a Miata guy. He's got a Miata, and like we talked about, like it's kind of like the poor man's sports car. It's very.
You can do some seriously cool things to them.
They're wild little
Yeah.
weird machines.
Yeah.
They're, these tiny little.
The guy I used to work
little
with,
cars
tall,
and-
skinny dude, built the crap out of one.
Yeah, you can do some weird
And,
shit.
yeah.
That's why they love their Miatas. But they went out on the East Coast trip and they're drinking all the beers and everything. And like, it got me a little bit jealous because like I've always gone west. I've never gone east. And
I went to Boston.
there's,
2 years ago.
I think I've been to Boston as a child
Yeah.
several times, but there's all the states out there. They're also small, like New Hampshire and Connecticut
Yeah.
and Massachusetts. Like they're
I
all
don't,
very
I don't like
small.
the weird,
So
like pinwheel intersections.
the
That's stupid.
the concentration of breweries, like you had mentioned before, like there's the saturation.
Yeah.
Like when I go to Denver, like the saturation of breweries out there is insane. And it makes me embarrassed to be from Michigan, where Grand Rapids says they're Beer City, USA. And I'm like, you've clearly never been to other cities,
Right.
Because you go to like Seattle or you go to Portland and you go to Oregon and or Colorado and realize that no, other states have much more concentration of breweries.
Yeah.
Michigan's one of those states that you drive everywhere. So I get it,
Yeah.
But
Although I do think that Michigan is a pioneer for a beer style in the United States. So maybe not necessarily beer capital of the U.S., but they certainly have done really good things for the beer community.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the entire United States and stapling the Centennial and Cascade beers.
Two Hearted.
Yeah, Two Hearted and
Smash
you know what?
beer.
I'll
It's best
still
smash beer in the
still
country.
drink Two Hearted anywhere I go.
I will.
It's a fantastic beer.
It is.
Sure, yeah.
It's won awards for a reason. It's a
yeah.
good beer.
My
Yep.
parents' 40th wedding anniversary was a couple weeks ago, and that's what I had when we went out to dinner.
Yeah.
It's like, it was good.
Yep.
You know, you can always. I remember initially when I first started going to Great American Beer Festival and things in Colorado, and like they'd be like, "Oh, did you bring any of that Bell's beer? Did you bring that Two Hearted with me?" And then we're like, "No." And so we knew next time to bring Two Hearted. And then like after 2 or 3 years of going there, they started distributing out there. So
Yeah.
like we could trade a bottle of Two Hearted for like some of their like $100 stouts or what the fuck ever. They're like, "Oh my god, you brought Two Hearted!" And I'm like, "This. I was drinking this when I was underage. Like you got to
Yeah.
do this." Like.
Now tell me,
High
is it
gravity would
worth-
never encourage underage alcohol consumption.
Yes.
Is it worth a trip to Kalamazoo to go to Bell's?
I have opinions.
Because I haven't been there yet. So, I've only been in Michigan for a year and a half.
So the answer is yes, because it's a fun place. The
Yes.
people are great. I had a
And
good
they do
time.
have good beers. Like Bell's Best Brown was a consistent of mine for years. Like when it comes out, I get it. It's a great brown. It's straight up. It's delicious. I have plenty of fond memories of Bell's beer. I love Black Note. Black Note's fantastic. I've never had a bad one. I like their beers. I don't like their owner.
Yep.
That's
Not
the
many
best way
people.
to describe it. I don't have anything
But-
good to say about him. He's a prick who is an enemy to the craft beer in Michigan.
Because he wants
That's too
everyone
bad.
else to go under.
Yeah, because he's the example of the guy we talked about earlier that he wants complete control of the system so he can be the only guy in town.
That's too bad.
well-
he was the biggest
the
proponent
question was-
against proper distribution in Michigan. So fuck Larry Bell.
Yeah. But the question is, should you go? The answer is yes. When I went
Yeah.
there, I stopped by for one beer, went out there for my daughter's gymnastics. We
Yeah.
did gymnastics in the morning, and none of the other dads would go with me. So I'm like, all right, I'm going by myself. I got
Yeah.
an Uber over, told my wife I'd be there for one beer and I'd be back. Yeah, I closed the place. I had a great time.
Something tells
So
me
much
Darrell
fun.
got in trouble
That's
that
awesome.
night.
Yeah, they do still make good beer. And
Well,
And the facility's great, and they just did a revamp. I think it was 8 years ago or 10 years ago. when they
Kalamazoo's a
redid
fun
it.
town too, because Kalamazoo's
And there's
western.
other breweries out there
know.
you can stop by.
Yeah.
so speaking of other and Michigan breweries, we got one more IPA one here. So I got this one from my buddy Jason.
Perfect timing.
Yeah,
One more.
perfect
Okay.
timing.
Yeah.
I got this one from my buddy Jason. He had this in his basement from a brewery local to him. Bottle number 141. I can read that.
I can see it's from Copper Hop, and Ryan over in Copper Hop does a great job. I like all of his beers that he's made.
Nice.
So kind of to the theme of the IPAs, and he brought an IPA. Kind of interested to try this.
Hop Circles. This is an imperial IPA brewed with honey, aged in gin barrels.
I'm intrigued.
11% ABV.
Interesting.
Let's see, what's the description on the bottle here? It says, "We brew in peace. One summer evening back in 2018, a double IPA was brewed for the first time in our backyard. The next day, we noticed that a set of peculiar markings had stained the ground in the same area. Did it come from cleaning the kettles, or was it something else? We may never know, but a name for our out-of-this-world beer was born. Hop Circles." All right, let's check it out.
I haven't had Copper Hop beer yet, but
I have not either.
Copper, they have good beer. It's
yeah,
consistent.
I've
It's
been
nice.
told I need to get over there and try some and just have it.
I know nothing of this. I've not had it. I know nothing.
Yeah.
I don't want to anchor with the aroma, but you guys smell that and tell me what you think on that aroma out of the bottle. I'm still getting it on.
Uh-oh.
I
Didn't explode, so.
no, I wouldn't. I have things to say, but I want to wait till everyone gets a nice pour. But,
Oh, that's a heavy malt to it.
out of the bottle, I almost got.
Looks like unfiltered apple juice.
I got like a. As soon as I smell the bottle, like that.
Oh, boy.
That pumpkin beer, like
Yep.
imperial pumpkin
Yep.
beer kind of smell.
I was waiting to see if that's what you can, like, strong. It smells very strong.
It doesn't necessarily smell infected, but something smells like something went wrong.
Ooh,
Could be gin.
yeah.
I hate gin.
Like I said, I'll tell you my gin
That's
story out
interesting.
here. I like that.
Yeah, the gin's interesting.
That's a very malt heavy beer.
If you would give me this a
I
blind,
like this a lot.
if you gave me this in a blind taste test, I would have said you were trying to make a pumpkin beer.
I would agree with that.
It very much has those
Yeah.
kind of like warm
it's got a
spice
hell of a
character, but
gin
like
bite.
very, very adjacent. Like I don't get any gin.
Oh, it's there.
I disagree. I think that it's there.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
it's
it's
giving.
heavy.
I think
I
it's
don't
giving
drink
this
gin though. I
beer-
hate it.
And I think for an
Yeah.
Imperial IPA, it's sweet.
I mean, we're getting heavy malt characteristic.
Yes.
We're getting
Like, I
getting sweet like high
Almost
finishing
wanna
gravity.
say it's
Yeah.
a Belgian. Like I just it's so malt heavy.
a Belgian double or a almost barley wine style.
I could see that, but it's not.
11%. It's
It's not as syrupy heavy as you
No.
tend to get with a lot of those styles.
Right.
So let's
It is
ask,
it's
still
got
light.
a clean.
what hops do you taste in it?
Oh fuck! I don't.
Exactly.
What I'm happy about, though, is
Maybe
that
that's why I like
we're not
it.
getting acetaldehyde, right? We're not getting that
No.
green
No, no.
apple flavor, which
Nope.
happens a lot. with
Doesn't taste like
barreling.
spoiled cider.
No, yeah, and I feel like that happens a lot, and it's encouraging
I
that
really like this. I'm not
They
gonna
have,
pass that bottle, please.
seemingly a good barreling process. So.
Yeah, I don't actually dislike it at all.
But it's a
No.
good argument because it's an Imperial IPA. It has that malty sweetness side to it.
I'm gonna
There's
put a
not a
heavy
lot of
pour of
bittering taste to it.
No.
And
Well, I
you
think-
really don't taste the hops, I think, because of that malt sweet
Yeah.
and the gin that's
And
in
when
it
you
overpowers
age
it.
too, you lose bitterness with aging.
And I don't know how long this has been aged. I think my buddy said he had this in his basement for a while.
I'll tell you what, barrel aged IPA. If I see that, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
But this,
This is.
I
really like this.
if I was at a tap room and like I got a flight and this was one of them, I wouldn't be upset about
Yeah.
it because this kind of changes my opinion a little bit on barrel aged IPAs because the bitterness is not there.
Yeah.
But I wish it was a little less sweet. But I don't hate this. With as much as I don't like gin and I hate barrel aged IPAs, I'm kind of surprised by this.
Still doesn't touch the sunshine.
Of course it doesn't. Of course it.
I like
but,
this
But
better. Sorry.
that's
I fell in love with that sunshine. now.
that's comparing potatoes to tomatoes. Like these are not this. Those are not the same beers.
One gives you liquor.
But
one
for an
does not.
IPA, gin barrel is a good choice,
I agree.
right? Because we're talking about like drinking pine trees,
Yes.
right? So adding that
think of
characteristic
that.
into an
very
IPA is not
complimentary.
a bad idea
Yeah.
at all. And it seems like I mean, for what this is, you can say that I think it was executed pretty well.
Oh my
I
god.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Like I would actually not be like drinking a snifter of this. If I ordered this at the bar, I'd be pretty happy with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Like, I do wonder how long it's been aging. That I don't know.
It wasn't on the bottle as far as I could see.
No. That's
But it is interesting.
yes. That's fantastic.
I'm not mad about this. I don't think it would be like it wouldn't be my first choice, but I would not be upset at all about buying it.
I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, good because that's a big fucking bottle.
Yep.
Well, Jesus Murphy.
This might even last us into next week's episode.
Well, we probably should consider that
Yeah, at some point.
because there's reasons that we should consider it. Like I need,
Me as well.
yeah, I need to go donate Bud Light.
Well, with that, I guess it was. I'll just call you Mr. Alex. I don't have a character name for you yet. Sorry.
It's all good. Yeah.
So I guess Darrell's looking something up, or he's just totally lost interest in the conversation. So screw him.
I was looking to see when this beer came out, see if I can find it.
Oh, doing something actually productive for the show. Cool.
Yes. So fuck you too, buddy.
Google.
That's my response.
Somebody has to be
Well,
a
that was
professional here. Sometimes it's Darrell.
Well, I was about to thank him and close the show out, but we'll wait for a moment, and then you can do that.
Looks like it's very recent. Every posting on this is this month.
Oh,
I do get slightly more gin as it kind of rests in the glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's subtle enough that I actually don't dislike it. Like
I'm wondering if it warms up, you get more of that like bitter
yeah.
hop taste
Probably.
to it.
Yeah.
yeah. There's this. Yeah,
I don't.
I still like it a lot though.
I don't like. I've said 100 times. I don't like gin, but like the subtlety, the touch of gin, because I do like that piney. I do like kind of like grapefruity, like that type of flavor.
It depends
I
on
enjoy
the kind of
flavors.
gin. Yeah,
And-
cheap
and
gin.
that could
terrible.
be because I remember I didn't like bourbon for the longest time because I only had shitty bourbon, and then I was like,
Well, you were wrong,
Then I
but
had
you saw
good
the light.
bourbon.
You
Yeah,
saw the
yeah.
light.
Just like I don't like Scotch. But
gotta
I've
find
had
the right
I've had
scotch.
good scotch, and I don't like it
Yeah.
because I like whiskey, I like bourbon, but I don't like scotch.
You know what it is? It's the honey that takes out
The sweetness of the honey.
it takes out the IPA, that flavor, that
That
bitterness.
would make sense.
Because there's a lot of honey. Every time I taste it now, I'm tasting the honey.
I'd be curious to see what it would be like with less or none. Would it be more bitter? Would it be more sharp? I kind of like it the way it is. I
feel
don't want to
would,
fuck with
yeah.
it.
I think that honey balances everything out.
I think that's what
It's
it
like
is.
it's binding everything together, kind of your malt versus your sort of hop characteristics, and mellows a lot of it out, but just adds more depth to it.
Right.
Still, though, I still get big pumpkin beer vibes
100%.
in such a weird way.
I'd be curious how long they aged it too. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that brewers make
Yeah.
with barreling is that they don't leave it in long enough. I mean,
I have a pumpkin cider.
You're not getting enough.
too.
right. It's too strong, right? You leave a beer in a barrel for 3 months, and you're just getting all the barrel.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you do,
You think about it though, when you're a small brewery and you have that cost tied up,
Yeah.
sitting there.
Yep,
You want to flip?
yep.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
There's a brewery we talked about before that you just discover where they are, and that's the several times I went there. That was their plague, was they were too popular for where they were, and they kept trying to turn things around fast.
Yeah.
And got a lot of acetylacide. Like you got a lot
Yep.
of that, like that flavor. Like, and had they just repitched a fresh batch of yeast, that might have cleaned up, might have been okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
But they were trying to rush everything. Everything tasted rushed. Everything tasted too fresh.
There's not a lot of money in having a brewery. I can attest to that.
From experience.
But still, you don't want to rush it.
No.
Because
No.
as soon as you
You
start
wanna
putting
turn
a
it-
product out there that
then it
seems
wrecks
rushed
your
or isn't
name.
the same, it'll start hurting you.
You're going to get
And you
assholes who
would-
like us who have just enough knowledge to be like, your beer's fucked, bud.
Well, all that being said, I'd like to thank you again, Mr. Alex, for joining us and bringing these wonderful beers.
They're wonderful.
Yeah.
Very much appreciated. Thank
The
you, sir.
the East Coast has been represented today, and it's been wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. Some very good choices. A few not. I mean, again, that's the beauty of kind of the craft beer world is everybody's got their taste. Some I didn't like, some I did like,
Yeah.
and everybody else just.
Did he
Is
just
it
say he
polar
didn't like a
opposite?
beer?
Nah, he's lying. Tune in next episode where we drink Coors Light with Johnny.
The mountains were not blue.
That sounds like the river beer. I'm not going back there. I don't want to remember that. Nonetheless, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Appreciate it.
thank you
Hopefully
guys,
have you
too.
back.
Yeah.
Godspeed, y'all.
Enjoy.
If you didn't learn anything today, at least remember this. Beer is the answer that makes everything better.
Can't remember the question, but who cares when you have a cold one in your hand?
Remember, everybody, drink responsibly, drink high gravity.
Most importantly, drink well.
Okay, not the well. Life's too short for bad beer.
Stay frothy, my friends.